We're here in Queensland at Channel 9, also known as QTQ. We're in Studio 1 where 9 News is done, and we've got Melissa Downs from 9 News.
Hello,
Hi.
Rob. How are you? Hello, everyone.
Melissa, when people found out we were coming to Queensland, they sent us some questions on Facebook. And we've had a question from Zoe who asks, how does the teleprompter work and what happens if there is breaking news while the news is on? I think this was a really good question because a lot of people ask about auto cue.
Yeah, it is one of those things that fascinate people. Some people think, have we learned everything off by heart? Are we, just looking into the camera and have we memorised everything? But it's a secret. I'll show you how it works. This is it here. We call it auto cue. Teleprompter is actually an American term, but here in Australia we call it auto cue. And it works by having a monitor here, a computer monitor here, which is actually in mirror image. And that is reflected up onto this pane of glass that sits in front of the camera. So the words are reflected up on there and we read it like that. But because the camera is sitting directly behind, it looks like you're just looking straight into the camera, and that's why people can't tell that we're reading.
Right, so you're looking right down the barrel of the lens and the words are essentially on top of the lens. So
that's right.
It looks as though you're looking down the camera, but you're actually reading the words.
And you'll find sometimes you might be able to pick up someone who's just started reading. Sometimes if you look really closely, you can see their eyes just a little bit moving left to right. But then once you've been doing it for a while, you tend to just rely on your peripheral vision, and you can actually be looking in the centre, but you can see all the words on the screen. It's kind of weird. I don't think you can, well, you can only learn it through experience, I think. Yeah. But the other thing, though, is that we always have hard copies, and people sometimes think our scripts are props, that, there we are, and we just sort of shuffle them and write on them. But like all technology, sometimes the auto cue fails, and we have to go down to our scripts. But you'll know at home if that happens, because instead of the newsreader looking directly at you as they're reading the news, all of a sudden they'll be going like this, because they have to, look down to see what they're reading next.
Now, the auto cue is run from over here.
That's right. We have our auto cue operator.
And obviously, before it gets to the auto cue stage, it produces a writing scripts, but you're rewriting scripts.
That's right. We get to see things during the day. I mean, it depends when the story happens. Some stories happen early in the day, some stories happen late. So we'll get to see everything as it happens. But you can see here, there's just this very, it looks very low tech, just this little kind of box with this, and you spool it like that.
And so the auto cue operator is keeping up with, as you read the words,
that's right.
They're moving the screen up.
Yeah, and that's another catch, actually. When you first start, often, if you're a bit nervous, you read a bit faster. So the auto cue operator speeds up to keep up with you, and then you think, oh my God, they're going faster, I need to go faster. And so sometimes that happens, but you control the speed. If I slow down, auto cue operator slows down. If I speed up, they speed up. And after a while, normally we have the same person who does the auto cue. They get to know the way you speak and how fast you speak. So it's usually quite a comfortable relationship. But
and the second part of Zoe's question was obviously the breaking news component,
yes.
which I guess in the control room
that's right. That's
would
where
be the place to talk about.
All hell breaks loose. They're the ones who deal with it. When there's breaking news, like we were talking before, most of the time we do get to read through everything, but sometimes a story might be happening at 6:05, 6:10. In that case, something is written for us, it's put in, and we may get a chance to read through it. Otherwise, we just have to see it and read it and hope, we'll be able to get through it. And often out there, it feels quite smooth, but in here, it can be chaos. And Jamie is our director, and he's the one who controls the ship. Breaking news, but that's almost the exciting part, though, as well, Jamie, isn't it?
It is, no, it is, because when we have a lot of stories coming in and things change, as in the latest floods that have been in Queensland, crossing to live crosses, sometimes you get 4 or 5 live crosses, and the situation is they're rolling in overlay, and stories can get pretty hectic.
And from your point of view in the control room, I imagine most nights are pretty hectic, but when there's breaking news and the rundown is changing, stress levels go up.
Well, true, and there's a lot of people that are involved in the news other than myself in the control room. Just looking around the control room at the moment, we have an audio operator for sound that covers all the microphones and all the stories right through and goes into live crosses. We have Tony that's vision switches, so he hits all the buttons and I roll all the stories to get them to air. Basically here we control everything through computers. And rolling in stories. Sharon looks after all the name supers that are involved over there, which is the actual names of people that come up. She puts them up on the screen.
When someone comes up, we
And
put a
their
name
little
up
title.
saying
Name
Joe
up, a
Blogs.
title, yeah, which goes via a machine and puts that to air. Our technical director is up the end. He looks after all the camera pictures, makes sure that they're not too bright and too dull. Also looks after all the live links. And finally, there's also a producer, which is probably, I'd say, the most important. It makes the decisions on the night to move stories around and makes up the times.
Yeah, that's one of the producer's most important jobs, is to make sure that we fit into the 30 minutes that we're given, because people don't realise when we have a hard out time, which means when that second comes, that's it, we're out. So if we're not finished, if we haven't finished speaking beforehand, we would be cut out mid-sentence. So as the news is happening, they're checking the time, counting, recounting, making sure that we're going to fit in that half hour. And as we were saying, sometimes when you have all those live crosses, if everyone goes over 10 seconds, all of a sudden you have less time, so you may have to drop a story or you might have to move a story. And Gary Youngbury, our weather guy, will sometimes complain because the weather being at the end of the bulletin often is what has to sort of bear the brunt of what's happened earlier in the bulletin. So he might have, some nights he'll have 1 minute 40 to do the weather, and then other nights he'll have 2 minutes 30, and it just depends on what else has happened.
And that all comes down because we have local editions of 9 News in all the states.
That's right.
And they all have to match up at the exact same time to cross over to a current affair, which is another live program.
Yeah, that's right. So that's sort of the hairy part of it, making sure that it fits. And also, though, when Jamie was explaining all the team here, we have also in the studio 3 cameramen, floor manager. But then also, apart from that, we have a team of 30-odd in the newsroom who are the cameramen, the journalists, the editors, the producers in there, who are the ones who actually put the stories together so that we have something to put to air in every news.
And then, of course, you have another bureau in the Gold Coast.
That's
and then we've
right.
got bureaus all around Australia,
That's right, all the
in
capital
Canberra,
cities. That's
Laurie
right.
Oakes doing stories, and overseas.
Yeah. It's an extensive network of people, and we all pull together, though.
True,
Do a good
we
job.
all pull together to get them to air first. That's
Yes,
what we.
yeah.
And at the end of the news, if you've had a busy news and there's lots of crosses, the best part about it is you walk out and everything works. Especially, as I said before, when we've had these floods, and you get microphones that don't like water, and everything works perfectly. It's a great night.
And I guess for you, that's one of the tricky things as well, because obviously if microphones break down and you cross to a reporter and we can't hear them, that changes the rundown. So what's it like when you're having to juggle things that have...
Well, that's right. When a microphone fails, you've got to make the decision whether you stay with it, because sometimes it can come right after 5 seconds, or do you have to get off it. If you get off that cross, you then have to move on to another story, which the producer will move one up. You roll that, then you try and get back to the cross. So you've wasted a bit of time. So as Melissa was saying, at the end of the news, it all comes to the end of the news and you run out of time a bit, because that's using up time that you didn't have. So you've got to make a decision what to do.
But in a way, with live television, they're the most exciting times, when things are happening and you have to react and respond, and that's when we all get a bit of a buzz, and I think we enjoy it the most.
Oh, terrific. Well, guys, thank you for showing us around.
Thank you.
It's fascinating. And if you've got any questions, just post a comment on our Facebook site at facebook.com/9news.
Yep, Zoe, hope that answered the question.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.